Hey everyone, Dr. Nuesse from EasyDOTphysicals.com back again with another video. This one I am going to lay out the top 5 reasons why a driver will be disqualified during a DOT physical, and this is going to be based on my experience, the drivers that I have personally seen. I've seen thousands and thousands and thousands of drivers doing DOT physicals at this point, over a decade, over 10 years of doing them. And this is going to be in order the top 5 reasons why I have had to disqualify drivers during their DOT physical. Now, because these are such important conditions or reasons, I have done full videos on each of these individually. So if you have an individual condition that you are concerned about in this list, please just see that video. It won't be a complete breakdown of each of these conditions. It's just the top, again, 5 reasons why I have disqualified a driver, individuals, during the DOT physical. And at the end, I'm going to give you one condition that drivers are often very concerned about that is not disqualifying. So I want to put that one to bed as well. All right, and number 1 on this list, far and away the most common reason that I would disqualify a driver during a DOT physical, it's probably equal by itself to all of the other reasons that I am going to list. It is blood pressure issues. Now, the FMCSA is very clear on the blood pressure standard, and I won't go through all of the standards here and all of the lengths of certification. That other video I made complete on blood pressure does that. But if your blood pressure, we cannot get your blood pressure under 180, the top number, the systolic number, or 110, the bottom number, the diastolic number. So we can't get it under 180, or we can't get the bottom number under 110. That is disqualifying. So we can't just get 1 down. If we get if we get the top number to 178, but the bottom number is still 112, or we get the bottom number to 109, but the top number is still 182, that is disqualifying. We won't be able to give you a medical card. It's very clear from the FMCSA. Now, we can certainly take blood pressure multiple times. So if your initial reading, you first come into our office, you're meeting me for the first time, potentially it's a stressful situation because your job is on the line, and I take your blood pressure and it is over 180 or over 110. That doesn't mean you're automatically disqualified. We cut the exam off. You can't get a medical card. You can't drive. No, there are certain techniques, things that we can do to help lower your blood pressure if it is strictly stress related. Now, there have been plenty of times where I have been the doctor that catches a blood pressure issue because the driver doesn't keep up with their blood pressure, hasn't had an annual physical, doesn't keep up on their annual physicals, hasn't seen a doctor in a long time, and I'm the one that actually finds their high blood pressure, sends them to their doctor, they get on medication, and then they're fine. And that's kind of the point of the DOT physical. But if it's just stress or anxiety related, we can have you lay down. I will have a patient, a driver, lay down for a little while in a dark room perhaps, meditate, take a power nap, zone out a little bit. And then just the more familiar that we get with each other, the more I talk to the patient, the driver, and we're maybe laughing and joking around a little bit, the stress kind of comes down a little bit. And also I will let the driver take the urinalysis part of the exam as well. So just going to the bathroom, that can sometimes bring the blood pressure down a little bit. But if we do all of these techniques and I'm retaking your blood pressure and we just cannot get either the top number under 180 or the bottom number under 110, then this is disqualifying. There is no temporary medical card or anything. You will be disqualified at that point, and you should be, because this is very dangerous. This is a dangerous level of blood pressure where you could have an imminent event like a stroke at any point, and if you do that when driving a large piece of machinery, you could cause obviously catastrophic damage. Again, this is the point of the DOT physical. So number 1 on this list, far and away, is blood pressure. All right, and the number 2 reason, the second most common reason that I will disqualify a driver during a DOT physical is because they can't meet the vision standard. And again, the vision standard is set by the FMCSA. There's no ambiguity to it. It is 20/40 vision using a Snellen chart in both eyes individually and both eyes together. So you'll get each eye tested and both together. And on top of that, you have to be able to identify red, green, and amber and have a peripheral vision of at least 70 degrees. You have to have all of those to meet the vision standard. Now it is, again, it's common for me to be the one that catches people that catches drivers that don't have vision that meets this standard, again, because they don't have regular eye exams or whatever. And again, this is the point of the DOT physical. So sometimes I will just catch a driver that does not have adequate vision. They will get sent to a vision specialist, they'll get glasses or whatever the case may be, and they will come back and they will be just fine and they will be better because they went through the DOT physical, even though unfortunately they could not be certified at the time I was doing the exam. The other unfortunate issue that comes up with vision is we will start the exam and a person will forget that will remember that they forgot their glasses. So they wear glasses, they know they wear glasses, they know they need glasses, and they just forgot them. Now, if your glasses are just out in your car in our parking lot or in your truck out in our parking lot, no problem, go out and get your glasses, come back in, that's fine, but you can't leave and go home and reschedule the exam. Once the exam starts, it has to be finished. This is again from the FMCSA. We can't start the exam, go halfway through, and then reschedule the rest of the exam for another time. The exam has to be completed and a determination whether passed, failed, or pending need to be made at the end of that exam. So you can't, and I've had plenty of drivers ask me to just stop the exam, let them reschedule and go finish and after they get their glasses, come back and finish the exam, and we just unfortunately can't do that. And the other thing we can't do, again, with blood pressure and vision, I've been asked this before as well, so I want to make it clear, we can't just fail you temporarily and then have you just come back, take the vision test or take the blood pressure test if that's the only thing that you failed, and be fine. If you fail the exam because of vision or again because of blood pressure, you have to retake the entire exam, even if it's just because you forgot your glasses and then couldn't pass the vision part of the exam during that time that you're in the office. So please, just if you wear glasses, wear contacts, just remember them. So vision is the number 2 reason why I would disqualify a driver. All right, and number 3 on the list, and this happens more than you would think, but sometimes I just cannot get a driver to provide a urine sample, and that's even after giving them multiple bottles of water, giving them ample amount of time, and they just are sitting there and sitting there and sitting there, and from stage fright or whatever you want to call it, they have a shy bladder and they just cannot provide a urine sample. Now, technically, this wouldn't be something that would disqualify you. You would actually, it would be called an incomplete exam. So it's a little bit different because it doesn't mean, it means that if you still have an active medical card from somewhere else, meaning you're not taking it on the exact day that your old medical card expires, you can still drive on that old medical card because we just didn't complete the exam. We didn't disqualify you and say you can't drive from that period forward. So it's an important distinction to make, and you should always be taking your DOT physical a couple of weeks in advance of its expiration date anyway, but I digress. So some people just cannot provide a urine sample. They will be marked as an incomplete exam, even after giving them multiple bottles of water, lots of time, can't provide that sample. And then again, if you are expiring on that day, you will not be able to drive after that. So again, it's a very strange and odd reason for myself because I never have this issue, but I've encountered it multiple times, again, overseeing drivers, thousands and thousands of drivers over a decade plus. So not being able to provide a urine sample is actually the number 3 reason why I won't be able to give a medical card. All right, and number 4, while not all that common, is a very, very important point to make because there's confusion around this, and if you just can understand the process, it can minimize the chance of this actually happening to you as well. And number 4 on the list, the number 4 reason why I would disqualify a driver during a DOT physical is checking the box that they use an illegal substance. Now, you can have used illegal substances in the past. The FMCSA requires that you're not a current user of anything that is federally illegal, and this includes marijuana, THC, cannabis. no matter what your state law is, currently, as of the posting of this video, if you check and admit that you use THC, cannabis, marijuana, it is still a Schedule I drug as per the federal government, and that is automatically disqualifying. There's nothing that we can do. Now, if you put that you use marijuana, maybe like you just quit, you quit in the last 30 days or something like that, what the medical examiner, the doctor, can do is potentially request a drug test. Now, even if you're not required to have a drug test, there are a lot of drivers that don't meet the qualifications to need a drug test, like having a CDL. A lot of drivers just drive a box truck or a limo or something like that, and they don't actually need a CDL. But we can still request a drug test if we think that you're potentially an active user of, and again, most of the time, maybe, I don't know if I can think of a time that it hasn't been THC, marijuana related, so I'm going to just stick with marijuana here. But a driver will admit that they use marijuana or just have recently used marijuana, and again, that is disqualifying. They won't even know it. They'll think because the state says it's okay, that it's okay with the federal government. Again, the Department of Transportation Physical is a federally regulated exam, so they comply with federal law, and they don't really care so much about the state law. So if you are currently using cannabis, THC, marijuana, or any other illicit drug, and you put on that form that you use these drugs, you will be disqualified, or potentially at least will have to take a drug test outside of that DOT physical to prove that you're not a current active user. Again, if you've used in the past, we can make the determination of if we don't feel that you're a current user, and then we can pass you. But if you're a current user, you cannot pass the DOT physical. That is number 4. All right, and number 5 on the list, and while this is the least likely situation where I have disqualified drivers in the past, it covers a lot of different conditions. So this would be any condition that I feel will cause you to potentially lose consciousness. And this is obviously a serious issue if you're driving, again, a big piece of machinery. So think of things like stroke, like seizure, like a potential recent heart attack. And again, I've done separate videos on each of these and more conditions that potentially could cause loss of consciousness. Most of these conditions will have preset by the FMCSA waiting periods. If you have an event like a heart attack, you have to wait a certain period of time and be cleared by a cardiologist or meet certain testing conditions to then be cleared, and then you can be cleared. But if you're inside of that waiting period, like you just had a heart attack 2 weeks ago, you are not going to be able to be certified to drive. You're not going to be able to pass a DOT physical. Same kind of situation with seizure, same kind of situation with stroke, and on and on. Again, I've done videos on each of these. So if the waiting period is not met, you're not going to be able to be certified. If it doesn't have a waiting period, or we just feel that you are still at risk, you are not going to be certified. And I have certainly seen both of these conditions in my office. So number 5 on the list is any condition where I feel that you will potentially lose consciousness. All right, as promised, I wanted to give you one condition that is not disqualifying that a lot of drivers are concerned about, and that is the whole misconception or confusion around obesity and sleep studies and CPAP machines. So if you come in, you're not on a CPAP machine, but the doctor feels like you potentially could have sleep apnea by whatever method they choose to test you for, whether that be neck size or BMI or whatever, then they will send you for a sleep study to see if you do have sleep apnea and need to be on a CPAP machine or need some form of treatment. That does not mean that you're automatically disqualified. You will get a temporary card to be able to go do that. So you won't be disqualified because we feel that you potentially could have sleep apnea. You'll get a temporary card, a shorter card. Similarly, if you're already being treated for sleep apnea, like you use a CPAP machine, we will need for you to prove that you are using that CPAP machine correctly. And still, typically what I do is I confirm that at least over the past month, you've been using it 4 hours a night, 70% of the time. That is a line right on the report that you can get right from the app that is connected to your CPAP machine. So if you are not in compliant with that standard, I will not automatically disqualify you. Again, you will get a temporary card in order to get that number back up. Now, if you can't get that number back up, you come back after I've given you a temporary card, you won't continue to get a temporary card. Then you would be disqualified. But you won't be disqualified automatically just because you're not in compliance with using your CPAP or needing a sleep study. You will get temporary cards. So I want to make that very clear. Now, if again, I feel, and this has happened, that you are not safe because you might pass out because of sleep apnea, like you're reporting that you get very sleepy when driving or doze off a lot, or I'm observing you not being able to stay awake during the exam, then you're going to be disqualified 100% of the time, and you should be. Something is going on. You need to have whatever that health condition is rectified. But sleep apnea by itself, or the need for a sleep study, again, is not automatically disqualifying. All right, so I hope this was very helpful and informative. You can ask me any questions in the comment section below. Like and share this video to promote awareness to other drivers, and stay subscribed here because I will be back with future updates. Till next time, everybody, stay safe.